Dream and his raven reach hell, and at the gate, a demon leads them to Lucifer's palace. Dream meets Lucifer and an evil-faced demon Mazikeen. Lucifer asks him why he comes into hell, and Dream tells her, one of your demons had my helmet which I need back. Lucifer shows him the burning demons and tells him to go and find your helmet. Dream uses his sand and finds the demon. The demon tells Lucifer that I took this helmet from a human and gave her an immortal pendant in return. As the demon didn't break any rule, the Dream must fight to reclaim his helmet. Dream accepts the challenge alone, and the demon chooses Lucifer to fight in his place. They start the challenge and Dream puzzles, saying, I am a universe that brings light for everyone. Lucifer solves the puzzle, saying, I am the darkness that destroys every universe. Hearing this answer, Dream falls and loses his courage. His raven gives him courage, saying, Lord, you have to defeat Lucifer or we will have to be his slaves for the rest of our lives. Dream wakes up after hearing this and puzzles that I am a hope. Lucifer is unable to solve it and Dream reclaims his helmet. Dream leaves and Lucifer, embarrassed by his defeat, watches him leave. Dream finds his ruby, which is altered now, and pushes him away. Johnny reaches there with a woman who gives him a lift. Johnny finds the ruby and before leaving, he gives the protective locket to the woman. Johnny goes to the restaurant and a woman named Bet approaches him to take his order. Johnny doesn't understand anything and Bet pours him a cup of coffee. Bet asks him, what do you do? And Johnny says, I want to create a new world that is based on truth. A girl named Judy comes to the restaurant, who is also a friend of Bet. A young man, dressed in a suit, entered the diner. Approached by Bet, he introduced himself as Mark, and she sat him at the front counter before correctly assessing that he was interviewing at Vanguard. Bet again comes to take Johnny's order, but then Kate and Gary arrive at the dinner. Kate and Gary are celebrating their anniversary. Kate ordered the usual spinach salad for the two of them, but Gary personally preferred a burger, which Kate expressed would be too fattening. Bet tells Mark Kate is the CEO of Vanguard and offers to make an introduction, but Mark insists that it isn't necessary. Bet returned to take his order, during which she revealed that she was a writer of sorts. She wrote stories that were based on real people, but the stories themselves were fiction, with all of them having happy endings. John then uses his ruby to force the truth on everyone, as Bet wants to be liked by someone. Gary appeared disgruntled, with Kate unaware that the two of them were under the effect of John's ruby. Judy reveals to Johnny how her girlfriend left at midnight, and Judy hoped that Donna had been in a car accident. Kate proceeded to interview Mark, and Gary decided to catch up with Marsh in the kitchen. Gary claimed it was Kate who ruined their lunch, looking out the window to her and Mark. Kate shared with Mark her marital troubles, such as how Gary was unfaithful and would have sex with anyone except her. Judy knows that Bet doesn't like Donna and they start making love. Kate and Mark proceeded to have sex, as did Judy and Bet in the bathroom, and Gary and Marsh in the kitchen. Gary attacked Mark after catching him with Kate, and Mark stabbed him in the neck with a knife, killing Gary. John confessed to taking away the lies, allowing them to do the rest. Bet burned her story in the kitchen, while Kate and Mark nailed his hand to the counter with a hammer. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Judy cut her wrist with a knife while Marsh proceeded to chop off his fingers and Kate slit her own throat. By the end, only John and Bet remain. Johnny compels her to embrace the darkness and she jabs screwdrivers in her eyes. John summons the Fates to inquire about his future, and they claim he will crush the Dream Lord. Dream arrives and demands John return the ruby so that he can repair the damage, as it was harming John and his world. John refuses and he takes him to the Dreams, where John proceeds to burn the Dream. He uses ruby on the Dream, and in taking all of the Dream's power, the ruby shatters, and all of the Dream's power returns to him. Rather than killing John, Dream decided to spare him, putting John to sleep and returning him to the hospital. Dream intent on rebuilding in the waking realm as well as his own. However, unbeknownst to him, he is being watched by Desire. Death tracked Dream down to a local park, where he sat on a bench feeding pigeons. Admittedly, Dream wasn't feeling the best. In the meantime, she invites him to join her at work for the day. As they prepare to leave, Death is approached by a young man named Franklin, who asks if he can see her again, to which she replies that he'll be seeing her again very soon. They come to a stop outside an old apartment building. Death seeks to reap an elderly man inside named Harry. Realizing his time has come, Harry says the Shema, a Jewish prayer, before being taken away. Dream shares with Death that when he was captured, it was her they were after, which she was already aware of. A young man named Sam on honeymoon with his wife. He drowns in the lake, and now she'd come to reap him, though he'd plead with her for more time, which she could not offer. Dream questions how Death was able to be there for all of them. She simply explained she had a job to do. When the first living thing existed, she was there. And when the last living thing dies, she'll put the chairs on the table, turn out the lights, and lock the universe behind her when she leaves. However, there were exceptions to Death, like Mad Hetty and Dream's ongoing project with Hob Gadling. The duo had then make their way back to the park for Death's final appointment with Franklin, who was hit by a car. In 1389, disguised as a nun and priest, Death brought Dream to a tavern to interact with humanity on their terms. There, they overheard a conversation between Hob and a few of his comrades. He spoke of seeing death and how the only reason people die was because they went along with it. Death suggests that she grants his wish of eternal life as an experiment, with Dream suspecting he'd want death within a century. And so, Dream approaches Hob and suggests that they meet again in the same tavern in 100 years. In 1489, 100 years later, Dream and Hob met at the tavern as planned. Hob questioned if he made a bargain with the devil and how he had survived as long as he had, but Dream did not bother to answer many questions. 1589, Dream returned to the tavern to find Hob thriving with good fortune. He then showed Dream a picture of his wife Eleanor and their son Robin. This is what Hob always thought heaven would be like. In 1689, they returned to the same tavern, and Hob was at the lowest point ever in his life, dirty and poor, seen as filth by many. Hob lost everything, from his land to his gold. He also lost his wife, who died in childbirth. 1889, Dream reunited with Hob as planned. Hob believed they met every century not because Dream wanted to know if he was ready to seek death, but because he sought friendship, to which Dream took great offense, insisting that he needed no companionship, and as proof of that, he left. 1989, Hob returned to the bar from centuries before and spent the day waiting for Dream, only for him to never show. Present day, Dream stood outside of the closed-down bar, which had been sectioned off in preparation for demolition. He followed the sign directing him to the New Inn, a nearby bar, where he found Hob. Hob playfully smiled and told Dream that he was late. Dream said he owed Hob an apology, referring to him as a friend. Desire reached out to their twin sister Despair to report that Dream had found his way out of his cage and that they had a new plan in the works. 2015, Rose Walker and her younger brother Jed packed their bags as they prepared to leave for New Jersey. Unfortunately, their mother revealed that their father insisted that Jed remain with him in Florida. Desire summoned Despair to share the news of Dream's return. Despair believed that he suffered enough after being prisoner for the last 100 years, but Desire didn't think he had learned his lesson. Desire retorted that Nada was a mistake and that Roderick Burgess was a diversion. But things have changed since then, as Desire revealed that there was a dream vortex, the first for a long time, a young girl named Rose. 2021, New Jersey. Upon Lita's arrival at the apartment, Rose informed her that she found a new photo of her brother Jed to give to the private investigator. Unfortunately, she learned from her mother's estate that there was no money left, as her mother spent it all on the apartment. Rose was being flown out to London by an organization for 7 days in exchange for one family history interview. Abel asked Lucienne if she heard about the vortex, which she suspected was nothing more than silly hedge gossip. Lucienne was more concerned with the consensus she was conducting, needing a complete list of all residents. Lucienne returned to the palace. She tells Dream that 3 of the major arcana were missing, namely a shape-changer nightmare named Galt, the Corinthian, and Fiddler's Green. Lucienne talks about the dream vortex girl Rose and insisted that he hunt for it. Dream stops her from taking action against any mortal who was not an active threat, because their main interset is to find 3 of the major arcana. Sussex, England. Rose and Lita arrived at a private care home for the elderly, where they were greeted by Mr. Holdaway and introduced to his client, Unity Kincaid. Unity fell asleep and never woke up until 8 months ago. Apparently, while she was asleep in the hospital, she had a baby girl, who was adopted and later grew up to have a daughter of her own, called Miranda Walker, thus making Unity Rose's great-grandmother. Huntsville, Alabama. Nimrod, the Good Doctor, and Funland gathered to discuss their upcoming serial killer convention. The one person they'd all pay to see was the Corinthian, but Nimrod reached out every year, and he never got a response. The doctor suggested they get his attention by copycatting one of his murders, though Nimrod was very much against the idea. The Corinthian arrived at Rose's apartment where Carl revealed that she might be away for about a week, and invites him in. Rose heard the fates calling out to her. They cautioned her to beware of dreams, houses, and the Corinthian. Unity talks about Lita's husband, and Lita revealed that he passed ways about a year ago in a car accident. Rose was hoping to hire a private investigator and go down to Cape Kennedy herself, which Unity offered to fund. Unity then gifted Rose a gold amulet, which was surprising to Rose, as she had a dream in the car about an amulet. Lucienne read the book of Rose Walker and she then sends Matthew to keep an eye on her. Cape Kennedy, Florida. Rose and Lita arrived at a B&B ran by a man named Hal Carter. Hal introduces them to Barbie, Ken, Chantal, and Zelda. Rose and Lita visited Ms. Rubio, the foster care agent in charge of Jed's case. And unfortunately, She was prohibited by law from giving out Jed's information. Rose and Lita returned home from the foster agency, where Ken, Barbie, Chantal, and Zelda invited them out to a club, where Hal performed in drag. Rose sneaked out and confronted by two would-be muggers, who attempted to rob her until Gilbert. In talking to him, she realized that he was one of her neighbors from the B&B. After learning that Rose's brother was missing, Lucienne looked through her book to discover that Jed Walker was missing from the Dreaming as well. Funland and Nimrod decided to follow the good doctor's lead and commit copycat killings of their own. Corinthian joined them and they invite him as their guest of honor at their annual gathering of collectors. To Dream and Lucienne's disbelief, they were joined in the Dreaming by Rose. Jed ran down the road screaming for help when he came across his Aunt Clarice, revealing that he ran away because Uncle Barnaby threatened to lock him away in the cellar. Barnaby pulled up and ordered Jed into his car, specifically the trunk. Clarice attempted to intervene, but Barnaby threatened to put her in the trunk as well. Thanks for watching and make sure to press the subscribe button for more amazing videos.